Welcome to Bet On It. I'm Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas. Let's bring in the 2 men of the hour, Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas, and Gianni at Greek_gambler. All right, guys, it's been a really fun week. I appreciate all your insight in helping me lose less money because, well, I'm just going to not mention that Steelers loss on Monday. Anyway, next subject. We're on to week 15. We're going to go to Thursday night. Now, I have the WagerTalk odds screen open, and the reason why I do is because this one's all over the place. We have the Chargers headed here to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. This one opened 3.5. Circa still has 3.5 flat. Westgate has 3. South Point has 3. DraftKings has 3.5 juiced. So whenever the line's kind of a little off, especially by a key number like that, I always like to ask VR first. VR, what are your thoughts on this Thursday night game, and why is the line kind of in a very key number sort of position?
Yeah, and there's always a difference of opinion between sports books. Some like to add VIG as an attempt to try to balance and not get middled. Others are willing to come off key numbers and try to limit their risk that way. And I think that's what you're seeing here because it's around that key number 3. Some have gone to 3 minus 20s. Others have gone to 3.5. And it comes to what your philosophy is on bookmaking. And some books out here in Vegas, we know they'll never add juice. They'll go to the next half point or the next full point, while others will even add it on totals. We've seen where there was a while where you saw MGM Mirage. They were so sick and tired of getting middled on totals, college basketball totals most notably, that what they did was started adding VIG to it. If you look at those college basketball totals, it opens 151, it gets steamed over. Next thing you know, you're looking at 157. That's a 6-point middle. And these betting syndicates were blasting away at them for years. So Mirage, MGM said, hey, we need to change this. Let's just add juice to it. So as they were steaming over 150, it went over 150 minus 20, minus 40, minus 50, minus 70, go over minus 150, now minus 2. You think it's got a chance of doing it 2 out of 3 times, then bet it. And I think that's what you're looking at here, coupled with a difference of opinion, because I've seen sharp bettors on both sides of the game. Personally, my opinion, I haven't bet this game. One of the few games I haven't bet yet. We'll have to be patient because I have a lot of stuff. I have college football, NFL, UFC. I released a lot of plays already, but I haven't bet this game, but I do like the Chargers. And I'm enticed to take that 3.5 for one reason only. I can't believe I'm saying this, and I know I'm going to get called out for it, but I think the wrong team's favored. There, I said it. I think the Chargers truly are a better team than the Raiders are. I think the Raiders have managed to win more football games. I think their schedule has been more beneficial. But I don't think they're that much of a better football team. And that's why I think that 3.5 is live. And as long as you don't play defense like the Raiders don't, that back door is always going to stay open. Again, I'll say it before I said it again. Yes, they scored 26, 27 points a game, but as long as you keep giving up more than that, you're going to have trouble winning football games. And right now, only 2 teams give up more points than the Raiders. That's the Jets and the Dallas Cowboys. So until you've plugged those holes, I got to look to the underdog or leave it alone. Haven't bet the game yet, but I do like the dog.
Marco, you and I are both situational handicappers, and the situation is Anthony Lynn is the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. VR, that scares the crap out of me. I was on the Chargers last week. I did have them in a teaser, and we did get to the window. But Marco, from a situational side, I'd love to get your opinion on this game, because if VR makes me back the Chargers on the road on Thursday night, I'm probably going to lose my mind.
Well, Kelly, this is going to be one of those situations, I think, and I know that you and I talk about these type of plays all the time. You're going to see a lot of sharps line up on the underdog in this game. This is going to be the so-called sharp square underdog play on Thursday night, in my opinion, because, yeah, nobody wants to lay points with the Raiders. Now, the Raiders did fire their defensive coordinator after Sunday's game, but that's not going to make a difference this week. We're talking about, and I was surprised that they did it, being that they were playing on a short week. This is a quick turnaround playing on a Thursday. The other point that I'm going to make here, and I am going to get to the window with the Raiders in this game. And I know that defense scares the hell out of me. I'm not going to kid you. But we are going to get Justin Herbert, who has had a marvelous football season. Don't get me wrong. He is locked for Rookie of the Year with everything he has done. But this is a primetime game for him. National spotlight game, short week to prepare. And you mentioned, there's not, Gruden is a good coach. I don't put him in the upper echelon. But against Anthony Lynn, yeah, there's a load of difference between the two coaches. And last week, we were on the Chargers because they were in a great spot. They were catching Atlanta in a sandwich spot, and that's why we had them as the sandwich game last week, because it was a horrible spot for Atlanta, and we got the job done. And even though everything was in their favor, they only got the job done by 3 points, and it took the last-second field goal to get that win. This is also one of those games where why people are going to go to the dog, they're going to look and see that just a couple weeks ago, Atlanta trounced the Raiders 43-6. Well, if you remember that week, we were all over Atlanta because it was a horrible spot for the Raiders. They were coming off that gut-wrenching loss. They went to the limit against Kansas City and then had to travel cross-country after that Sunday night game and such, and it just was a horrible spot, and they played like it. Well, then they're going to look and say, well, they lost to Atlanta and the Chargers just beat Atlanta. How many times have you heard me call the old ABC game when, Atlanta beats the Raiders and the Chargers beat Atlanta? Well, that means this is easy. Just go to the windows. The Chargers are going to beat the Raiders too. That kind of long-term wagering will take you to the poorhouse. I'm on the Raiders in this one, and I hope they keep betting it, and we get those threes, and I'll take the 3. And this is one of those cases where, public service announcement. If you bet the Raiders and you don't get a 3, and you bet the Chargers and you don't get a 3.5, stop betting now. You're never going to win, okay? Because both of them are out there. Pick your poison, and that's where we're at on this one.
Very good point by Marco. As VR always says, guys, we're here to teach you to make better bets. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't just pick winners more than we can pick our noses, as we saw with me on Monday night. But got to make better bets. So again, both of those numbers are available. And the good news is we have Saturday NFL. Let's move right along to Carolina, Green Bay. This one opened Green Bay -7.5, quickly up to 9 in most spots. Some 8.5. Looks like the books are trying to protect themselves in that teaser situation. Total 51.5. Few offshores are sitting at 51. Marco, your thoughts on if somehow Carolina can keep this one close?
Oh, Carolina is the type of team that can keep it close, and they do look like an attractive underdog. And I'll tell you, Kelly, of all the games we're doing on the show this week, I'll say it point blank. This is the weakest of my opinions on Green Bay. And it's simply because, Kelly, I don't like taking a public team like Green Bay in a standalone game like this because you're never going to get the best of it at the window with the numbers. And as you said, this has already gone to 9. This is a point where the books are setting it up. They're going to protect themselves. It's the late game on Saturday. There's going to be all kinds of teaser action, money line parlays with Green Bay. Everything's going to run through Green Bay on Saturday night. And, that scares the hell out of me. I'll be totally honest with you. But the fact that Green Bay had a close game last week, I think is going to have them a little bit more focused for Carolina coming in here. And let's face it, Detroit, we've seen them. They were lucky to backdoor that one last week. And I'll tell you, I was happy. I was on the right side of a lucky break. They were down 2 scores, and they elected to take the field goal first late in the game when there was 2 minutes to play, and they were inside the 10-yard line. Most teams would have went for the touchdown there because there was still 2 minutes to go. Unlike earlier in the day, we saw the same situation with Miami kicking a field goal down 2 scores. But that was, they had less time. They couldn't waste time trying to get the touchdown. So I think Green Bay can get some separation. What it's going to come down to is I think Green Bay is going to score more touchdowns. Carolina's going to settle for a couple field goals a few times. Then you get a little bit of separation, and Carolina has to come out of that running game and have Teddy Bridgewater force the issue. And although Teddy doesn't have a lot of turnovers, I don't want to see them having to sling the football and try to match scores with Aaron Rodgers. You know, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, those kind of guys, they love the spotlight. They love to put it up there. Weak vote to me on Green Bay. If this line wouldn't have got to 9, or, if I could have had it at 8, I probably would have, had a lot of teasers with Green Bay, but I couldn't get that number. So as Ace says, you don't have to bet it. The number's gone, but I do lean to Green Bay.
All right, VR, your thoughts on this Saturday night game? I'm kind of with Marco here. This looks to be maybe just a stay away type of game. Have you seen anything in your accounts regards to the sides or totals?
Now, none of the groups I work with bet this game. They did bet the second game on Saturday. I did. In fact, I made 3 bets on Saturday's NFL. I bet 7 UFC sides already. I think 5 Sunday NFL. Again, I know there's a lot of new guys that are jumping on board. Listen, bet size correctly. We've been building all year. Well, there's 2 weeks left in the 2020. My goal is to make the guys that have been with me the last 11 and a half months as much money as possible over these next 2 weeks. And they may be risking some of that profit. If you haven't built that profit over the last 11 months, you may not want to bet as much as we're doing right now. So pace yourself because I am firing these last 2 weeks. I'm not just going to go out and throw a play here, play there, and just get that positive year and off to 2021. We're still trying to make money in 2020. And I like Carolina in this game, Kelly. I thought 9 was way too many. I grabbed the 9 and bet it immediately. This was 7.5 a week ago. What's changed? Other than the Panthers not covering against Denver, which was a coin flip type of game, went back and forth. We saw what happened. But more importantly, with Carolina, this team's always live with that back door. If you're giving 9 points and you got Teddy Bridgewater back there and you have a lot of players coming back for Carolina, let's not forget, this team was facing that COVID situation. You're going to start to hear more and more players are coming back. We've already seen that, and that's why this line slowly but surely starting to drop. Even though the public money is coming in on Green Bay, it's going to continue to come in on Green Bay, and they're going to tease Green Bay. Bottom line is this. You got 2 very comparable defenses here in Carolina and Green Bay. The difference is Green Bay is a lot better offensively, but I don't think they're a double digit, able to beat them by double digits better on the offensive side of the ball. Again, Carolina's had issues with injuries and the COVID situation, but they're getting a lot of players back. And I think you're going to see that on Saturday. And the bottom line is this team can score, even when they don't win football games. But this is the kind of team I want to back as an underdog. I never want to lay points with a team like this. You want this team almost always going to be playing from behind. You want the team they're playing to almost lose interest, and you want them to go down the field with no time left and get in the back door. And that's what this game sets up perfectly for when you're given this many points. Yes, Green Bay could be up by 2 touchdowns. Green Bay could be up by more than that. But what's going to happen late in the game? Teddy Bridgewater takes over. Carolina goes down the field, scores that touchdown, and Green Bay doesn't cover the spread. Carolina's live in this game from start to finish. Again, I think this offense is legit. That's why they've covered games that they've lost. Anyone that's given them this many points is going to have problems. I like Carolina plus the 9. I wouldn't sprinkle the money line, but I do think they'll cover that easily.
So, VR, really quick, just to touch on that, I know that you like the Panthers. I know that you think that they're going to cover start to finish. As I went to bet my 9.5, it switched to 8.5, of course, because that's how this works. Do you think that the Packers, in a possible teaser situation, 2-team 6-point teaser under that field goal, is worth a middle, for example? Let's just say I can get a 9 later. Okay.
I would tease the Green Bay Packers. That's just a decent bet. They're at home. Okay. You're getting them under a field goal. And power rating wise, they're a touchdown better than Carolina. So you're getting that value on the teaser. I just don't see that value on the point spread. Completely different bet. And it's not a bet against Green Bay. It's a bet on Carolina, where I think with the teaser, it's kind of not even a bet against Carolina. It would be a bet on Green Bay, where you're betting them to win at home, something they do a lot. And I think that's a decent bet and doesn't go against Carolina +9. They're separate completely.
That's what I thought. So I think I can still probably find a 9. Just was kind of looking. I was like, you know what? This is a great live question to ask. All right. Sunday night prime time, Cleveland at the New York Giants. This is nuts. This is a Cleveland Browns team off I would kind of say, an interesting loss of sorts. Cleveland was a 3-point favorite, now up to 4.5 based on probably, I'm guessing, the Danny Dimes news. Total 44.5. VR, I'm going to stick with you. It's off the board at quite a few shops, but your thoughts on the Sunday night game?
Yeah, I'm so glad you started with me, because hopefully Marco has some information and could lead people towards the window and cash in a ticket, because I really don't have an opinion on this game, a strong one. But what I wanted to use my analysis for is something even more important, and that's our ability to pass. I can't stress this enough, and that's why I say, if you want to be a professional sports bettor, I highly recommend you learn Advantage Blackjack, because the hold is so much less. If you could beat a 5% hold, you could probably beat a 0.5% hold, and you'll see long-term a lot faster. And here's the difference. When you play Advantage Blackjack, you're forced to make negative EV wagers. You have no choice. You have to sit at a table and make bets that you know the house has the advantage. And here's why. Because they made the rule that you can't jump in halfway through the deal. You have to wait till the start of the shoe. Now, the casino will tell you they made that rule because they don't want to slow the game down, meaning they don't want to have to wait for someone new to come in, break change, exchange for chips, and slow the whole game down. They rather wait till the shuffle starts and then get the new guy in. That's not why they do it. The reason they do it is simple, because a guy like me could stand in the back with a cocktail, talking to 2 people, and count down 3 tables and just sit there and count them down. And as soon as it comes a positive EV situation for the player, I step up and I place a decent sized bet. If I win and I'm still positive EV, I bet again. If the table goes negative, I step back and I wait for the next positive EV situation to pop up, and I go and I place my wager. The casino said, no. You want to play Advantage Blackjack, you're going to have to sit through all the negative hands as well. And if you're that good to know when to bet more and could overcome that negative bets you're making, then go ahead, take our money. They make it that difficult. You don't have that problem in sports betting. You could actually say Cleveland -3, negative EV. Giants +3, negative EV. Guess what? It's a coin flip, and I'm paying 11 to 10 for it. Why bet it? I'll just watch something else on TV, or I'll do something different. Again, your ability to pass is one of the biggest advantages you have as a bettor, as a sports bettor, that you don't have as an advantage player in a lot of other games. Use it. I'm passing on Sunday night because I have absolutely nothing to share on this game. Maybe Marco does. I don't.
All right, Marco, you're up. What are your thoughts on Sunday night?
Well, first off, you got to start with the Cleveland Browns, and I'm sorry, that last drive, they shit the bed. Oh, wait, no, that was somebody else.
Oh, no.
Lamar Jackson. The situation here with it is the way they lost the game, Kelly, all jokes aside, how do they pick themselves back up off of that game? That was, such a big game for the Browns. Monday Night Football, it was Baker Mayfield's coming out party. I mean, let's face it, he might have been the best game I've seen Baker play in his career. And it was a primetime game. He did it on a national spotlight. They came back from 14 down to have the lead, and yet found a way to lose that game. We use the phrase in sports betting so often, lose the same game twice. And that's what I fear for the Cleveland Browns. Next to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens are their biggest rival. And that was a game that just slipped away from them. Now they got to go on the road, play the Giants. Now, the Giants, they were ugly last week, and I was glad they were ugly because I was on Arizona. But this is a team that historically, the last 3 seasons, they've played well at home. They're 14-5 against the spread at home the last 3 seasons. And the Browns, granted, they are a different team this year, but I do have a stat on them for the last 3 seasons. when they're coming off a game in which they allowed 6 yards per play or more, which they did on Monday night, they're 0-7 against the spread, Kelly. But again, this is a different team. They're playing better this year, but I just don't like the spot for them. Sunday night game for the Giants at home. I know that that's going to pique your interest. I just can't get to the window with Cleveland in this spot. So for me, it's the Giants plus the points. If this line goes up anymore, right now, we're sitting at a number where there's no teaser value there, but I like the Giants. But if it gets to 4.5, if it would get to 4 or more, maybe you could add some points there because they do play decent defense.
Okay, thank you guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to finish up the show.
Every Monday at WagerTalk.com, all plays are just $9. This even includes top-rated 5% plays, which normally sell for $40. There's no better day to get winning picks than $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com and our sister site, SportsMemo.com.
This weekend, Gianni the Greek went 11-1 in the NFL, topped by his 5% big move on the Denver Broncos. On the season, Gianni is ranked number 1 in the NFL and up 125 in profit behind a 59% winning percentage over 299 releases. Right now, you can lock in all of his NFL selections through the regular season for $199. As an added bonus, we will include the playoffs and Super Bowl for free. To take advantage of this offer, just go to Gianni's expert page and purchase his NFL special for $199, locking him in all the way through the Super Bowl. No coupon is needed for this special, but this is a limited time offer, so act fast.
Welcome back to Bet On It. We're going to go inside the Westgate look-ahead lines and then cruise on over to the teaser section. But Marco, I'm going to start with you first. Another Saturday game, Buffalo at Denver. This one's kind of perplexing to me. I know I brought it up about 3 times on the show already. I'm going to get over it before the end of the show. Buffalo looked really great on Monday night, but Denver also got a road win. I don't get this. Buffalo opened -5, now up to 6.5. Riddle me this one, Batman.
All right. Well, Kelly, they looked so good on Sunday night that it carried over to Monday. They played Sunday night last week. But yeah, it was a primetime game. And yes, that's why this line is moved the way that it has, because with that win, they beat the Steelers, who just 2 weeks ago were still undefeated at 11-0. Now they're 11-2. And with that win, Buffalo's moved themselves just one game out of the number 2 seed. Now, there's not a lot of difference between a 2 and 3 seed because this year only one team gets the bye that first week. But the public looked at that game, looked at what they did against the Steelers, and now they're sold on Buffalo. Even though Denver played a good game last week, your Broncos went on the road and won. So what did they do wrong that they're getting penalized in the spread? So this has to be classified as an overreaction. And I think a little later in the show, maybe I might have a play involving this game.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. VR, this one is the biggest line move I've seen in a while from the look-ahead lines. Tampa Bay opened -1.5, now 6. Can you please explain this one to me? I understand Atlanta lost on the road to the Chargers, but this is a pretty significant line move.
Yeah, and am I surprised? No, to be honest with you. I saw sharp guys take the Tampa Bay side. I missed the number, so I didn't bet it, and I didn't release it to subscribers, but I kind of wish I did, because you look at Atlanta, and what do they really have to play for? You're not going to the playoffs. I mean, are you going to play spoiler for anyone? What is there to show up? And if you look at their schedule, here's what the next 3 weeks look like for Atlanta. You play Tampa Bay, and then you go to Kansas City and play the Chiefs, and then you go to Tampa Bay and play Tampa Bay again. Yeah, they're real excited for the end of the season. They can't wait for it to get over. So I think that's why you're seeing, when they sold the 2, the pick 'em, whatever, it was just obvious to lay the Tampa Bay side in. And power rating wise, I mean, now it looks like Atlanta has value, because I don't think power rating wise, Tampa Bay is 6-point favorite, but they're at least 4.5. So I understand the move. And then even historically, the road teams won 4 of the last 5 in this series. So it didn't matter whether they play in the dome or outside. It's been that kind of series. So for me, I understand it. I don't have a play on the game at all.
All right, Marco, Seattle at Washington. Seattle opened -3, now 5.5. Also kind of interesting because football team got another win and Seattle just steamrolled the Jets.
Yeah, Kelly, but it was the Jets, okay? Are we really going to give Seattle credit for rolling over the Jets after Seattle? This was a team that had to be pissed off last week after, they lost to the Giants the week before. So double-digit favorite again. Yeah, they were going to flex their muscles and take it out on the Jets. In fact, they had such a big lead on the Jets. We had a Geno Smith sighting. He got to get in the game against his old Jet teammate. So, that was fun for him, I'm sure. But this is an overreaction. Yes, Washington did win last week, and that's a game. You're talking about being bitter with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm real bitter with my best bet last week on the San Francisco 49ers against the football team because the football team won a game with only 193 yards of offense. Yeah, this is another game I'll be talking about. Well, not this one, but I'll be talking about another one later. This is a little bit too much of an overreaction. Part of it might be because Alex Smith left the game last week, but the early reports are that he's going to play. He's listed as the starter right now. So unless he's not 100% and something happens before the weekend, that would change definitely my view on Washington, on their value. But Washington is a team that can put pressure on a quarterback, and that's how they won the game last week, causing the turnovers, 3 of them, in fact, last week, 2 defensive touchdowns. That's how they won the game. I lose a game 23-15, giving up 193 yards and 2 defensive scores. That's fun. So this one's unwarranted.
I gotcha. All right, VR, last but not least, Chicago at Minnesota. Minnesota opened a 6.5-point favorite, now down to 3. Looks almost too easy just to take the Vikings here.
Yeah, and I think the Chicago moves was strictly power rated related because I can't see many betting syndicates that have Minnesota 6 points greater than Chicago on a neutral field because that's what we're looking at this season. Remember, there's no home field advantage, more or less. So again, this line was a case of bringing it out too high. Minnesota's at least winning football games, even though they're underperforming against the betting market. And Chicago's done the same, but they were just getting a little bit too many points, and that's why the short money came in and took the 6, took the 5. Now at 3, I think you're going to get good two-way action from the betting public. Who's really in a rush to lay points with Minnesota? But you're probably right at home. It looks like they just have to win the game against Chicago, who's won 1 game in their last 6 or 7. Looks easy to take Minnesota. I haven't bet the game at all, but I can tell you the +6 side was sharp on Chicago, but no longer available, obviously.
All right, the segment that has been saving my ass for 15 weeks. It is time for this week's teasers.
Oh.
Marco D'Angelo, you are up first. Please tell me who your teaser is for NFL Week 15.
Well, Kelly, you said been saving your butt. It's been my bread and butter this year has been those teasers. Now 11-3 on the show with them, and let's try to make it 12-3. And the first half of the teaser this one's automatic. This is we preach it over and over again. You've got the New England Patriots getting 2.5. We're going to tease that through all of the key numbers. You get the 3, you get the 4, you get the 6, you get the 7. And the benefit of it is you're also getting all those key numbers in a low total, which makes the EV even better on it because the lower the total, the more valuable the points are. So we're going to go ahead and take New England and throw in one last angle in there. You've got New England. They're going to be facing a rookie quarterback. We know what Belichick can do to rookie quarterbacks. So, again, that's just the only way you can go here. I can tell you this much. If New England goes down with all of the sharp guys that bet teasers around town, Vegas will do very, very well this week because that will be the sharp play on everybody's teaser tickets. Now, the next one, this one I'm not sure everybody's going to go with. It might seem a little square, but I'm going to go there. I realize this is Atlanta's Super Bowl for them. They got Tom Brady coming in. Atlanta's not going to the playoffs. If they can play spoiler, that would, give them a little, satisfaction. But Tom Brady, coming off last week. They rolled last week. The offense got in gear. They were coming off their bye week. And Kelly, teams that have their bye week late in the season, that's a huge advantage than having it early in the season. You're banged up and everything else. You need that week to rebound, get some people healthy. And I think that's what we saw happen last week with Tampa. And let's not forget, they added a couple pieces to the puzzle. Antonio Brown was added to the team, give it an extra week to work on things. I like Tampa just to win this game. It looks square, but sometimes it is hip to be square. I'll go ahead and tease Tampa down. Just get the win and take the plus EV side with New England. That's my teaser this week.
All right, VR, your teasers have also been kicking ass. Please tell me who your teaser is for this week.
Yeah, and this is a week I actually released this exact teaser to my subscribers. I'm going to start off on Saturday with the Buffalo Bills. It's on the road. You know, the total is at 50. It's going up from 48, 49, right around there. But I just think this is such a better team and a winnable game for the Bills. Power rating wise, I have them right around a touchdown. So being able to get them to where they just have to win the game makes sense to me. And then I tied them up with the New England Patriots like Marco did. And for me, the reasoning's kind of the same. Low total, but more importantly, I see sharp guys on both sides, and I love teasing those because that means the line's right around where it should be. That you got respected guys laying 2, you have respected guys taking 3. So if I could get 6 extra points, that's the kind of game I want to attack because, you know, again, we know how hard it is to win long term. And when when 2 groups disagree between 2 and 3, if I could get that all the way up to 8.5, I'm going to do it. So I like the New England Patriots in this spot. Don't know if they could win the game, but I do think they could keep it close. So we'll go Buffalo to beat Denver and New England to keep it close as our teaser this week.
All right, I'm on both of those teasers. The New England Patriots, Marco, I think you are right, will be the sharp side in the teaser, and they will be locked up with several teasers, including the Colts for myself. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, the Steam game of the week is the deli back open, and of course, some T&A with Ralph Michaels.
Get $25 in WagerBucks added to your account after your first purchase at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. This is just our way of saying thank you for joining the WagerTalk and SportsMemo family.
Did you know every Tuesday is $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com? We pick the hottest handicapper and offer his best bet for just $2. This is a great way to introduce yourself to the winning handicappers at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Welcome back to Bet On It. Before we figure out if the deli is back open, you guys all hear that freight train rolling right along. VR, let's keep these Steam games rolling. Who is your Steam game for NFL Week 15?
Going to an over-under and getting involved early on Saturday. Going over in Buffalo versus Denver. We bet that over, I think 47 or 47.5. I gave it out to my subscribers at 49.5. It's hovering around there, 50. As long as you don't go over 50, the value's definitely still there. Listen, this Denver defense is terrible. I mean, there's only, I think, 8 or 9 teams that allow more points than the Denver Broncos. And it's not as if they had a whole row of offensive juggernauts just lighting it up against them. But more importantly, it's the Buffalo Bills side, which historically was known as a defensive-minded team. But nothing could be further from the truth as far as this season goes. This is a football team that's let up a lot of points, and they're getting it done on offense. I think they're going to be able to score on Denver. But more importantly, I think you're finally going to see a Denver team be able to put up some points. They put up 32 against Carolina. We had seen them the first time, when they played the Chargers last time, they put up 30-plus points. They are capable of putting up points. And I think with Locke there, they should be able to do that against this Buffalo team. Again, it's a Saturday night game. We have a little bit extra value because of Buffalo coming off that low-scoring game against Pittsburgh. And prior to the Carolina game, that Denver offense was just sputtering, where they went 3 points against New Orleans, 16 points the following week against Kansas City. But again, styles make fights. It's cliche. I sound like a broken record. And they make games as well, matchups. That's how they play out. And I think that's what you're going to see here. Just 2 less than mediocre and poorest defenses on the Denver side with two capable offenses, at least on the Buffalo side of the football. And at home, I think Denver will be able to put up theirs as well. Let's go over 50. Get this one into the 55 range and cash that ticket on Saturday.
All right, I'm locked and loaded with the Steam game. Marco, sounds like the deli's back open. I just heard the doorbell ring. Tell me who this week's sandwich game of the week is.
Well, Kelly, we've got a sandwich, and we're at just 25% capacity for everybody. So do make a reservation when you come to the deli. But Kelly, we're going to be in the same game. I don't know if the governor allows two people to be in the same game in Nevada here or not. We'll have to check that. But I am going with the Denver Broncos here, and we're going to take them at home. And everything that Ace just said, I can't disagree with anything he said. But what I'm looking at is the situation for the Buffalo Bills. Here's a team that if you look back at what they have just done, 2 weeks ago, they played Monday Night Football against the 49ers. Now, granted, the 49ers are banged up and everything else, backup quarterback. We know all of that. But it was a Monday Night Football game. They got the job done. Then they had to travel back home, short week off of the Monday night game, play on Sunday. Not only did they play on Sunday, Kelly, they played the last game of the day, Sunday Night Football. And now they got to go back out on the road and play on a short week again because they're going from Sunday night to Saturday afternoon. This game's at 4:30 on Saturday. Play at Denver. And you're coming off the Pittsburgh Steelers game, which how many primetime games do the Buffalo Bills get at home? That was huge. And they beat the Steelers. I just think that they got to be feeling fat and sassy just off the last two games itself, but then look at what's a sandwich. What'd you just do? Who do you got on deck? And even though there's no longer Tom Brady there, they got the Patriots next week. And Buffalo's still trying to fight for the division, not with New England, but with Miami, who's still within distance. They got to take care of business, and they still got to get past their nemesis next week with New England. I just think it's a bad scheduling spot for Buffalo. Yes, I realize they need to win the game. They're trying to lock down the number 2 seed and keep Miami at bay. But that's baked into the number as well. That's why we saw this line go up to 6.5. And as far as the defenses go, yes, Denver's given up a lot of points. But if you look at the yards per play, they're ranked 13th defensively in the league. And part of the reason why their point totals are so high is remember the division they play in. 3 of the opponents that they face all score. The Raiders, the Chargers, the Chiefs. They're playing those teams twice a year. Yes, their numbers are going to be inflated. I got the Broncos. The old adage, give me the better defense, getting points, playing at home, and throw the TV on it, primetime, home dog. Kelly, I'm there with your Denver Broncos. I have a feeling maybe, you might get to the window with your Broncos on Saturday.
Marco, I just need them to cover and not win for my regular season win total under. I got the pin out. You guys know what that means. It's time. See what Ralph Michaels has dug up for us this week. Ralph, I'm going to let you start by patting yourself on the back because you have kicked ass in the Bowls since basically you've been at WagerTalk. So please take 30, 45 seconds to tell everybody what you've got up in terms of this year's bowl season.
You know, Kelly, I'm going to give credit to my former employer. You know, for North Coast Sports, there's a lot of you that know the double bowl issue where we read every bowl in advance. Well, there's a hell of a lot of things I took out learning how to handicap bowls. Number 1 at WagerTalk over the last 2 years. My bowl record, 18-7, 72%. And with the WagerTalk Bowl Special, not only are you getting every bowl game I release for $149, you're also getting this last week of college football for free. So the rest of college football, $149. Why not sign up with the guy that's been number 1 over the last 2 years, hitting 72%?
Awesome stuff, Ralph. Okay, let's flip back to NFL. What do you have for us for NFL Week 15?
Well, you know, you hear me hyping and preaching and trying to advise our people. Remember just a couple months ago, oh my God, this NFL is record crazy scoring. 62% of the games went over the total the first 4 weeks. How could you ever bet an under? Well, the last 5 weeks in the NFL, the overs, 38%, 42%, 37%, 37%, and 31%. That's right, unders the last 5 weeks have gone 62.7% to the under, and now year to date, we have more unders than overs, going 51% over. So the NFL is a long season. You need to make those adjustments. The Vegas lines haven't dropped down much, so there are still values on these unders moving forward into December.
I like to hear it. Hopefully we continue to see that regression over the next couple of weeks.
You know, the Eagles pulled an upset as a 6-point dog last week. So my question is, once you pull an upset as a 6-point dog, what happens if you're a dog again or 6 or more, like they are? Well, let me give you this record. 3-52 straight up, 13-41-1 against the spread, only 24.1%. So that's a clear fade. The Eagles, excuse me, off an upset win as a dog of 6 or more, and being a dog of 6 or more again, that's a fade the Eagles angle. And, you know, let's talk about Washington. We talked about winning as a dog. Washington is only the 52nd team in the last 32 years to win 3 straight games as a dog. I mean, it happens 1.6 times a year. That's it. Well, so what happens after you're a team like Washington? You've you've pulled the outright upset 3 straight games, and now you're a dog again, like they are. Those dogs have covered 58.6% against the spread. And if you're a home dog, there's only been 6 times a team has been a home dog. They've gone 4-2 ATS. So one dog angle says to fade Philly. The next dog angle on Washington says back the Redskins.
You
and one that
the Redskins. I just want to hear you say football team one time, just because it makes me laugh.
Okay, you know, I went on a rant on Twitter, Kelly, because now the Indians are dropping the Indians and the tribe name, even though the Indian tribe that they're named after is perfectly fine with it and actually thinks it's a positive, not a negative. So I keep thinking I'm going to call them the Indians baseball team, and I just can't get over that. So the Redskins football team out of Washington. Last NFL, then I do have 2 college ones I just want to mention. One of my favorites, Cal, we probably mentioned this 3 times, maybe 4 times, and it just makes so much sense. It's a positive team against a negative team, a team that won their game and covered against a team that failed to win and did not cover. That's simple. 73.7%. That's why I keep bringing it up, guys, because it keeps continuing to win. And it's something you don't need me to highlight each week. It's so easy to look when you're looking through the schedules. The 2 teams that apply, Dallas against San Francisco and the Bears against Minnesota. And I do have 2 quick college football notes. Army is off a shutout win against Navy. College football teams off a shutout win at home, week 7 or later, 31-4 straight up, 24-9-2 ATS, 72.7%. I think the wrong team's favored. Hint, hint. That means I clearly like Army here. And college football same season revenge. Clemson lost to Notre Dame, ULL lost to Coastal, and Oklahoma lost to Iowa State. Those teams that have same season revenge and lost the first game as a favorite have cashed 57.1% the last 20 years.
All right, great stuff from Mr. Cleveland Baseball himself, Ralph Michaels. Make sure you guys are giving Ralph a follow at CalSportsLV. Thank you, Ralph.
Have you ever checked out the expert handicappers at Sports Memo? If not, here's your chance. Right now, you can get as many handicappers as you want for the next 7 days for only $7 each per day. Even better, if you're a first-time customer, we'll credit you back $25 in WagerBucks after you make your purchase. All you have to do to redeem this limited time offer is go to sportsmemo.com, choose your handicapper of your choice, use coupon code SM49 at checkout, and repeat as many times as you want until Monday Night Football kicks off.
Thank you to Ralph Michaels. Always great info from him. Make sure you guys are following him at CalSportsLV on Twitter. Okay, it is the time for the barking dogs. These dogs have been barking all season long. Super happy these guys have been able to dig these up. Marco, I'm going to let you go first. Who is your barking dog for this week?
Well, Kelly, we got a purebred dog. This is one of the best underdogs in the NFL, and that is the New Orleans Saints. And yeah, we're taking them with Taysom Hill here. Not what I would really want, but we got to do what we got to do. And I'm looking at this Kansas City Chief team, and although they keep winning, Kelly, you watch them play, and for me, when I watch the Chiefs, it's like they're almost bored. It's like, let's just get to the playoffs, okay? They're winning, but they're just getting by. They dig themselves holes, and then all of a sudden, you blink your eye, it's a 3-play, 70-yard drive, and they got the lead again. You look at their last several games. They beat Miami by 6. Little misleading. Miami did kick that field goal with under 30 seconds left in the game to get under the number. Then the week before that, they played Denver. They sleptwalked through that game in a 22-16 game. They went on the road. That one was the reverse. They had a big lead and let Tampa come back for a 27-24 final. And the week before that, they went head and shoulders with the Raiders as they were trading blows the entire game back and forth. It was a very entertaining game, 35-31. Now they're going to play the Saints in the Dome. Yeah, it's a season where home field is not as big of a factor, but I still got to like the Saints here. And Kelly, here's the last stat I'm going to give you. The New Orleans Saints, in the last 3 seasons, they have been an underdog only 9 times. 3 years, 9 times they've been an underdog. How about 8-1 against the spread when they've been an underdog? I'm not stepping in front of that. And again, we talk
home,
about
right, Marco? As an underdog at home?
That's an underdog period. They're just underdog period. They're 8-1. This is a spot where I've got to take them. And Kelly, they do have the better defense. Surprisingly, when we think of the Saints, we thought about a few years back when it was all offense and no defense. This team does play defense. They got the number 3 ranked defense at yards per play, and I think that can slow this game down. The key for them: shorten the game, run the football, keep Kansas City off the field as much as you can, and let your defense do its job. I'll take the Saints plus the points. Another, it's not a primetime game, but this will be a featured game in their time slot. I'll take the home dog here.
I'm with you, Marco. I just love stepping in front of that Chiefs freight train every single week. Luckily, the Dolphins got the backdoor cover for me last week and helped me save some face. VR, who is your barking dog for this week?
All right. I haven't bet it. The only dog that I bet in the NFL so far is Carolina. I have a couple dogs that I'm actually looking at, possible for the 5%, but I want to confirm before I share it. But the one I picked for the show real quickly, I like the Houston Texans a little bit. Again, at 7.5. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense. We know these two teams just played 2 weeks back, and we have a point spread for that game. It was Indianapolis was -3, got bet up 3.5, what have you. I was on the Colts side. I thought they should have been a little bit higher, but now you're talking a lot higher. We've reached the next key number and are ready to go through it. And it's based off of a result, a single random outcome. And that's what you want to look for. That's what odds makers do a lot better than the bettors. They don't have those knee-jerk reactions. They don't over-adjust, under-adjust based on the result of any single week. And I think you could take that going forward, even if you don't bet it in this particular game. Because again, I haven't bet it, but I just don't have an underdog. I'll give you, ready? Rob Font in UFC's plus 135. I think 130 I gave him out. Well, you get better than plus 125. It's a coin flip fight. If you could get better than plus 125, I'll tell you he's live. And that line moved too much. That line moved too much. All the bets I gave moved too much. Yeah, just that. Rob Font plus 125, our live dog.
All right. Thank you, VR, for finding us a live dog of your stature in the UFC. I love it. Let's go on to best bets for this week. I know I've been kind of just like a little meh today. It was just one of those weekends. I just need to get over that hump. As I started to look at this week's NFL card, there was a lot of expletives said that I will leave to myself. Just know that I already hate my best bet after doing the show with these guys. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons here. As Marco mentioned, this is the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. They have a couple of other really hard games on deck. As VR mentioned, I understand this team doesn't have much left to play for. They fired their head coach. They're not going to the playoffs, but this is it. They're playing their divisional rival in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we've seen this line just tick up a few too many points. So you want to give me 6 with a really ugly home dog? I'm going to take the bait. Let's hope that we can get to the window. We can cash this ticket. I'm sure at some point in time, I'm going to be holding a CLV trophy here. So on to the next best bets. Again, sorry guys, not loving this NFL card. I will release a bunch of different teasers, including what the guy said with the New England Patriots out soon. Marco, you're up. Can you have a little more excitement than I did?
Well, Kelly, I can have a lot of excitement in this game because I am doing something that, probably maybe I shouldn't do. Come back to the well with a team that just hit me in the backside last week. But I'm going to go back to the San Francisco 49ers. I gave them out on the show last week as my best bet. They were my top bet of the Sunday card last week. And, man, everything was looking good until they turned the ball over driving, and 2 turnovers for defensive scores in that game. As I said, they only gave up 193 yards of total offense. Nick Mullins, I called you everything I could possibly call a quarterback last week during that game. I'm sorry. I apologize. It was the heat of the moment. I scared my dogs yelling at you during the game, but he had as bad of a game as you could have, Kelly. And yet, the 49ers only lost by 8 points. 3 turnovers, 2 defensive touchdowns. And what caused all the problems was the Washington pass rush. Chase Young is a beast, and he put pressure all day long on Nick Mullins. Mullins is not going to have, compared to the time he had to throw last week, when he sees this Dallas Cowboy defense coming at him, he's going to think he's on vacation. He's going to have time to eat a sandwich, read the defense, and find where he wants to go. But here's a memo to Shanahan. Run the football, please. You were running the ball down the throats of the Redskins last week, and you got out of your game plan. They will have success against this Dallas Cowboy defense, and let's not just get excited about the Cowboys winning last week. They were +3 in turnovers. They were facing the backup quarterback for Cincinnati, Burrow, gone for the season, and it was the homecoming of Andy Dalton, getting to go back and play against the team that he played for his entire career. That was just a one-off. Congratulations, Cowboys. You won a game. Now you're back home to be what you are, a bad football team. I'll take the 49ers. They're the better football team on both sides of the ball. Their defense is far superior to what Dallas has. In fact, the 49ers have the number 5 defense in yards per play. I'll go ahead and do that. Nick Mullins, please have a clean game as my best bet.
I'm with you, Marco. I ended up on the Niners, and I just switched it off at some point in time. I think it was after the second defensive touchdown for the Washington football team. That being said, VR, you cashed your best bet last week. Let's hear who you have for this week in the NFL.
Yeah, 10-4 on NFL best bets. Hopefully keep going. And remember, bet size correctly. Bet size, bet size, bet size. Stay consistent. Before I give the best bet real quick, just wanted to put this out there. We've had a great year here, having a lot of fun and all that. There's a lot of people struggling out there. The holidays are coming up. There's a lot of good things out there that we could do. If you've heard of 3 Square, they're having this hookup right now where they're matching the funds. A dollar gets 3 meals. Right now, a dollar gets 6 meals. So for $100, you could buy 600 people food to eat. Even for $10, you could feed 60 people, man. People are having difficult times right now. We're blessed and lucky to be able to do what we do. And around these holidays, maybe reach out. And even if you put some Christmas lights up, man, just put some smiles on some people's faces and shit. Tough times out there, man, for people. But getting back to the best bet, Eagles, Arizona, I'm going to go over the total. Bet it over 47.5, the group I work with. I gave it out at 48 or 48.5. I don't remember. We bet it all the way up. I'll bet it all the way up to 49, all the way up to 50. I think there's a ton of value on the over, and it's because these teams haven't been over teams. In fact, they're a combined 9-17 to the under because they were looking at some pretty high totals if you look. But more importantly, it was also the style of football. Now, with Hurt in there, I think that's really going to help this Philadelphia offense. And just think about it. They are going to play the Arizona Cardinals, who are offensively very prolific. Each and every week, you're seeing them become more and more efficient. And I think on the other side of the football with the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to throw in some wrinkles as well. I like the addition. Getting Wentz out of there has actually given this team some life. You saw it last week against the New Orleans Saints. And the fact that he's able to run the football, as a thrower, he's going to throw for 200 yards. That's what he's going to get you if he has a good day. But if he could run for 100, 120 yards on top of that, he's going to create some problems for some defenses. Look for Philadelphia to put up their points. Look for Arizona to put up their points. At 48, 49, this total just is not high enough. And if you watched that Eagles game last week, I did because I had them big against the Saints. What do we see? Eagles secondary, injury after injury after injury. I counted 3 players in the secondary during that game that got injured. I don't know if all of them are coming back or if none of them are coming back, but if they are, they're definitely not 100%. Bet the over. Arizona, Philadelphia. I released it to subscribers already. That's my best bet this week. Let's see if we could keep it going. And again, if you could just give a little extra during the holidays, this is the time to do it, man. People are lined up at food banks all over the country. Let's help some people out.
Thank you, VR. I appreciate you giving out that PSA. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be college football best bets. Marco D'Angelo has been one of the country's top handicappers for over 4 decades. Since 1980, Marco has been sharing his wisdom on betting with his clients, and like a fine wine, is getting better with age. Since Thanksgiving, Marco is 10-3 in the NFL, and his top-rated 5% NFL plays have cashed 70% this season, making Marco the #1 NFL handicapper at WagerTalk on this year's NFL 5% plays. Get all of Marco's plays in the NFL right now through Super Bowl for just $1.99. That includes all 5% plays that sell for $40 themselves. Make sure you take advantage of this special offer now. Welcome back to Bet On It. I know I expressed my feelings towards this week's NFL card, and I should have expressed my feelings about the college football card basically all season. VR nailed it. Look, these college plays have just not been that great. Yes, last week I did get to the window with Troy. I thought I was going to get that money line sprinkle, and it just didn't happen. That being said, I hate this week's college card probably more than the NFL card. So I'm going to give a play out that John Murray texted me about yesterday, and it makes sense. Florida State plus 7.5. I think it's down to 7 in most spots. Bottom line, Wake Forest has an atrocious defense. They allowed over 104 points in their last 2 games, over 440 yards on the ground. Who runs the ball? That's right, the Seminoles, 324 yards last week versus Duke. Gonna just say it, this has been a really sharp group that has shared these plays over the last few weeks, and I'm gonna tail them again because I can't come up with anything on my own. Bottom line, apologies, guys. I was trying to make a case for the Florida Gators. I just couldn't get to the window with any of these other college teams. I will put stuff up on Twitter and BetSperts if I come up with a better college play, but I didn't want to leave you guys empty-handed. All right, VR. Surely you've dug up something better than I have for this week in college football.
We bet FSU too, Kelly. Florida State plus 7. That's a sharp play. Win or lose, you're on the sharp side. That's for sure. I'm going to get involved on Friday night, and I'm all over UAB. I bet them at plus 6, gave them to my subscribers. I think they're 5.5 right now. I think the line should be a field goal. So, again, I think there's still value there. Bottom line, this team was they were a heavy favorite to win Conference USA in 2020. This was the team to beat, remember? They come in off 3 consecutive bowl seasons. They claimed the West title in back-to-back years. and they returned, 19 starters. What happened? They came out of the chute, got a big win, 59-0 against Eastern Kentucky, beat Appalachian State, beat teams like, sorry. They played the Miami. It was the second game of the season after beating up on Central Arkansas. They faced Miami, get beat up by Miami. That was their only bad game of the season. They've lost 3 games, but that was their only bad game of the season. Their other 2 losses, one was in overtime against the Louisiana Tech, which they were almost 2-touchdown favorites again. They should have won that game. A lot of randomness involved there. And the game against ULL, we know how good ULL is this year. They're sharp this week as well. They got steamed. But Marshall, I think a little bit overvalued, and they're coming off their first loss. That's the kind of team I want to fade this week. They were undefeated going into that game against Rice, 24-point favorites. They don't just lose, they get shut out 20-0. They expect to get bounced back? I don't think so, especially not by over a field goal. This game has the makings of who has the ball last. I think UAB wins the game outright, to be honest with you. I'll take the points, though, as a bonus. Let's take UAB +5, 5.5 over Marshall.
All right. Sprinkle a little bit on that money line. Marco, who do you have for the very last week of college football before bowl season starts?
Well, Kelly, I'm going to go against the team you went against last week, and you got the money with it. I'm going to go against Coastal Carolina, and the question is, does the clock strike midnight for Cinderella? There's not been a better story in college football this season than Coastal Carolina, and especially what they had to do 2 weeks ago. They had a big game planned. Game day was coming to town, and all of a sudden they lose their opponent with COVID. And BYU steps in, plays a game on short notice, and it was an epic game. The 2 teams went back and forth, and they had to survive a late drive by BYU to hang on. Coastal Carolina then comes back last week. You called for the flat spot. They were feeling fat and sassy after the game against BYU the week before, and it almost cost them. Do they get away with it again this week? Well, Louisiana Lafayette has been one of the most consistent teams this season in the Sun Belt. The one game they lost, well, who was it? It was to Coastal Carolina, and that game was decided by a field goal. The game was decided by a late turnover, 1 turnover deep in Lafayette territory, inside their own 20-yard line. They turned it over, and it was a short field for Coastal. They got the touchdown, and that got them the win in that game. If you go back to that game, the number was -9 at Lafayette. Now, we talked about home field advantage isn't what it was this year because of, no fans or limited fans. They were a 9-point favorite in that game. If you just flipped the script on a normal season with line values and went ahead and gave the team 3 points for home field, they would still be a 3-point favorite at Carolina. They're a 3-point dog here, 3.5. It's too much of a line adjustment for what Coastal Carolina has done. And granted, they've done a lot. I can't fault what they've done. But you can't penalize Louisiana Lafayette either. They've won every game but one, and the one game they lost was by 3. Too many points of value here. This is the public perception on Coastal Carolina because they're undefeated, and all of the pressure in the world is on Coastal Carolina on Saturday. They have the undefeated season, Kelly. They have to win their conference championship game. If they lose the conference championship game, it makes their undefeated season all for naught. All the pressure in the world with them. Lafayette's free rolling in this game. I'll go ahead and take the live dog. I'll do the sprinkle. I'll take the points. I'll take Louisiana Lafayette is my best bet.
See, I knew I would like your guys' college football plays better than I liked my own. All right, guys, we're going to take our last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it all up, put a pretty bow on it. Just a few, what do we have? 9 days before Christmas.
The NBA is back. Preseason starts this Friday, December 11th. The regular season tips off on Tuesday, December 22nd, and our top 2 NBA cappers have an unheard of special. Both Hakeem Prophet and Rob Vino have agreed to this huge discount. Hakeem Prophet exploded onto the NBA scene in his first year here at WagerTalk. Rob Vino was dominating, picking up 168% profit by hitting 60% on 305 plays. Listen to this deal. Our NBA early bird price was $6.99. The NBA season ticket price was $8.99. But for the next 7 days, get Hakeem and Rob for only $4.99 each. No coupon needed. Just go to their homepage, click on which capper you want for the NBA season, or even click on both. Each only $4.99.
All right, last segment. That's right. It's time to wrap everything up. We're going to do the 3 primetime games. We got Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. The guys are head to head on the first 2. Marco says he likes the Raiders here. VR said Chargers look like the play. Either way, you better have the best number on either team that you bet the end. As far as Saturday night goes, I put the Packers into a teaser, and I'm trying to still find a 9 with the Panthers per VR. Marco said he thinks all the value is already gone on the Packers. And as far as Sunday night goes, VR said this one's a complete pass. Marco said, look, pay attention. If this one gets into the 4s, 4.5 range, look towards the New York Football Giants. As far as teasers go, we have a ton of them this week, but the sharp side is the New England Patriots. Both guys have them in their teasers. Marco says, take Tampa Bay down to a pick 'em. VR says, take the Bills down to a half. The steam game this week is Buffalo, Denver, over 50. Do not go over 50. There's still 49.5 available. And we're sticking with that same game. The deli's back open, even at 25% capacity. Marco says the Broncos plus 6.5 could be a live dog. Speaking of live dogs, Marco is taking the New Orleans Saints plus 3 over the Kansas City Chiefs. And VR says the Houston Texans, as bad as they looked last week against Chicago, will step up against a divisional opponent in Indianapolis this week. He likes Houston plus 7.5. I mentioned before we did the best bets how much I hated this week's NFL card, and I already hate my best bet, but let's hope that we can cash this ticket. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons in their Super Bowl. Marco's going back to the window with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm with you, Marco. It looks like I'm going to be there as well. And then I did tail VR in his best bet in the over 48.5 in the Philly-Arizona game. He said points will be abundant. I took the sharp side and cheated in college football this week because I hadn't gotten enough time to really do my own research. John Murray told me the FSU Seminoles plus 7.5. I got him plus 7. VR agreed and said, hey, we bet that side too. They also bet UAB plus 5.5 on Friday night. Marco is going back to the well and fading Coastal Carolina like I did last week, taking UL Lafayette. Yep, that's right, plus 3.5. He said, don't forget to sprinkle on that money line. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties, but we got it out. From Gianni, Marco, Ralph, and myself, good luck this week. And until next week, let's bet on it.